Welcome into the latest edition of Newswatch. Tonight, stay tuned to see Nike's new monumental move to incorporate a new culture in their clothing.
And you won't want to miss what's new in the works between Iowa State University and the Dakota Access Pipeline.
And I'll be talking all kinds of sports in this month of madness with the latest in Iowa State women's and men's basketball.
And of course, last night we dealt with those severe thunderstorms rolling through the area. We'll see clear conditions coming up throughout the rest of the week. All of more coming up.
Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your night and week. Stay classy, Cyclones.
Welcome to Newswatch. I'm Hunter Smith.
And I'm Taylor Mankel. Thanks for joining us. A deadly crash took place on Highway 6569 south of Indianola early this morning. The crash happened just before 4 a.m. according to the Iowa State Patrol. A man driving a Chrysler 300 crossed the middle line on the highway and crashed into a Hy-Vee semi, causing both the crash and in the process killing himself and the passenger of the semi. The highway was closed down for nearly 5 hours following the serious crash, but is now open and ready to drive. Investigators continue their search into what caused the driver to veer into oncoming traffic.
This Wednesday is the last day to vote for next year's student body president. The candidates are Connor Tillow with Rachel Barnes, Cody West with Cody Smith, and Anthony Chavez with Emmeline Hansel. One highlight to the Tillow-Barnes campaign is their advocacy for digitized student IDs. The West-Smith campaign is focusing on restoring the spring tradition that VSHA once had without its negative aspects. And lastly, the Chavez-Hansel campaign wants to crack down on transparency among President Stephen Leith, the Board of Regents, and the student government. The results will be named on Thursday at 7 p.m.
According to the American Cancer Society, approximately 1.69 million are expected to be diagnosed with cancer in 2017. And in their chemotherapy, patients need daily blood transfusions. You can help this cause by donating at the Iowa State Blood Drive. The biannual blood drive will take place March 6th through 9th in the Iowa State Memorial Union Great Hall. You can go and donate anytime from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m., but be sure to eat a full meal and drink lots of water before donating.
National Weather Service officials will be surveying storm damage in Seymour, Iowa to determine if a tornado or straight-line winds are to blame for extensive damage to the town. Damage was done to numerous buildings, businesses, and the school. Seymour was one of the hardest hit towns from last night's storms that ripped through central and southern Iowa. Over 20,000 Iowans were without power last night. Webster County also had a path 1.5 miles long of extensive damage. Straight-line winds are to blame for numerous damages across the state. There have been no injuries reported with this storm.
Many politicians are making their state with or against President Donald Trump claims that his phones were wired under the Obama administration. Iowa U.S. House Representative Steve King has come out publicly today in support of the commander-in-chief. King told the Sioux City Journal today that even without any supporting proof that Trump Towers was wiretapped, it is very possible the Obama administration did do this. He has since called for further investigations in the matter.
Des Moines police have made arrests in the city's 8th homicide of the year after a woman was found dead in an apartment late Monday night. 60-year-old James Walden Jr. has been charged with first-degree murder. Police were called to 1729 Grand Avenue just before 10:40 on a report of an injured person. When officers responded, they found a 45-year-old woman died in a second-floor apartment. Officers say there was traumatic injuries to the woman's body. The name of the victim has not yet been released.
Chants of "Kill the bill" and "Water is life" echoed through the halls of the Iowa Capitol this morning as hundreds of people came to protest the new highly opposed bill that would dismantle the Des Moines Water Works. Many are fighting to keep their jobs, some are fighting for environmental purposes, and many don't see why there needs to be a change. Protesters speculate the bill is trying to be passed as a revenge bill after the Des Moines Water Works Company sued 3 counties north of Des Moines for using too many chemicals on their crops, causing overnitration in the rivers, which caused many problems downstream. The bill would look to make water distribution more corporate versus what it is now in a local sense.
Iowa State announced on Tuesday that Dakota Access, the company overseeing the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline, will help fund research by the university into the effects of construction on farmland Over a period of 5 years, researchers hope to gain a better understanding about the impact of construction utility equipment, field traffic, and deep tillage on crop yield and soil compaction. The Dakota Access Pipeline will cross about 18 acres of university-owned farmland. The company is giving Iowa State $600,000 to fund the project. The study began this last fall. In Iowa, the pipeline covers about 5,740 acres of farmland.
An active case including a Johnston High School teacher took a step forward today as Dustin James Mead has been jailed for his connection to a sexual abuse case. Johnston police say Mead turned himself in yesterday morning after being accused of being involved in 2 charges, one in sexual abuse and the other in sexual exploitation. The investigation was launched in January and no other details have been announced at this point. Coming up after the break, hear about how the GOP plans to repeal Obamacare.
Stay tuned. You're watching Newswatch.
Welcome back to Newswatch. The athletic hijab, that's right, they just did it. Nike announced that it's developing a high-performance hijab for Muslim women athletes called the Nike Pro Hijab. This inclusive move, inspired by Saudi Arabian runner Sarah Attar and Emirati Olympic weightlifter Amna Al-Haddad, comes after what Nike says is an ongoing cultural shift that has seen more women than ever embracing sport. Nike also explains that the design of the new clothing item is like a lightweight second skin and that it's increasingly being used by women in the Arabian Gulf. The Nike Pro Hijab will be available in stores in spring of 2018.
A new wave of threats have been made Monday and Tuesday to Jewish schools and institutions. These latest bomb threats came as a letter signed by every U.S. senator was sent to the top law enforcement official in the Trump administration, asking them to do more in response to the threats that have rattled Jewish groups this year. The senator's letter and new threats are mixed among anxiety still in the Jewish community 4 days after a disgraced journalist was arrested and charged with being responsible for a handful of threatening messages. The threats Tuesday targeted facilities in at least 8 states, Washington, D.C., and Toronto. Before Tuesday, the Anti-Defamation League reported that 121 bomb threats were made across the United States and Canada.
Poachers broke into a zoo and fatally shot a rhinoceros and then removed its ivory horn with a chainsaw in hopes to sell it on the black market. Alike horns have been worth up to $42,000. The suspects entered the French zoo overnight and shot Vince, the 5-year-old rhino, before removing his horn. Police are currently investigating but have stated that the suspects are still at large.
States that hold on to their sanctuary status for illegal immigrants potentially stand to lose tens of millions of dollars in federal funds, according to a new study published Tuesday. The report details how much could be lost after President Trump's executive order that threatened to yank federal dollars for hundreds of sanctuary cities. The states hardest hit would be California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Trump's January warning prompted the mayor of Miami to abandon the government's sanctuary status, but it looks like most cities will stay on course. The cities received $27 billion last year from the federal government.
A freight train smashed into a charter bus in Biloxi, Mississippi on Tuesday, leaving at least 300 dead and 35 injured as it pushed the bus down 300 feet of tracks. Biloxi Police Chief John Miller stated that there is no conclusions as to why the collision happened. Witnesses have stated that the bus was stuck on the tracks for about 5 minutes before the train hit it. The names of the dead have yet to be released.
House Republicans expect to release their Obamacare repeal and replace bill early this week. But GOP lawmakers are divided on how to pay for their health insurance. They're debating on whether to replace Obamacare subsidies with refundable tax credits that would be based on a person's age rather than their income. Some of the conservative lawmakers don't like that these credits would be paid out to everyone buying coverage, calling it an entitlement program. These tax credits have long been the basis of the GOP plan since 2015. A draft replacement that was leaked last month calls for providing credits for up to $4,000 to lower premiums for those who don't have insurance through their employers or the federal government. But most recently, conservatives came out against the plan, saying it was too similar to Obamacare subsidies.
ESPN has come forth and announced that the company plans to lay off some of its TV, radio, and online personalities. The layoffs are expected to take place through June and have made it clear that the cuts will only affect talent and not rank-and-file employees. The company is also looking to buy out contracts that aren't coming to an end in the near future. ESPN stated that they in a continuous process of adapting and improving what they do, in which inevitably affects how they utilize the talent they currently have. And Hunter, I'll tell you what, it looks like our future jobs at ESPN are already in jeopardy. It's very up and down over there right now, just like the weather.
Yeah, and of course we got Sam here, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the weather in the weeks to come.
Yeah, we had quite rolled through that cold front, dropped our temperatures dramatically, but we stayed just above average today across the state of Iowa, mainly 50s outside for the high temperatures. And as we look at current conditions outside, current conditions in Ames currently, west-northwest wind around 15 miles an hour, partly cloudy skies, 44 degrees currently. We will see more clear skies ramp up as the overnight continues. Currently in Mason City, though, 39, a little bit chilly up there, 50 down in Des Moines, 45, though, over in Council Bluffs. And as we look at clouds and radar, we did deal with some isolated showers all throughout the state of Iowa. That is dissipating, though, as we speak, giving way to mainly clear skies behind this cloud mass, and that'll be dominating our picture as we go through tomorrow. Here's the future radar as we go through the rest of the night tonight. Some clouds sticking around through the evening hours, mainly clearing up, though, statewide overnight into the early morning hours tomorrow. We do expect mostly sunny skies to be dominating the picture, staying mainly dry Wednesday night on into early on Thursday. There could be a snow chance we're watching into extreme northern Iowa and southern Minnesota. We'll keep you posted on that as a quick moving disturbance moves through. But our lows tonight will be flirting with the freezing mark all throughout the state, 32 in Davenport, a little bit more chilly up in areas near Mason City at 28 degrees. Here's the forecast locally in Ames tonight. 31 degrees, a west wind around 10 to 20 miles an hour, pretty breezy at times. Here is the forecast tomorrow across the state of Iowa. We see quite the difference in temperatures. 43 degrees up in Mason City for a high, though. 56 in Des Moines. A little bit warmer over in Council Bluffs at 60 degrees. And here is the forecast in Ames, flirting with 51 degrees. A breezy but sunny sky outside. Those west winds between 10 to 20 miles an hour. And here's a 7-day forecast. Our average high is 43 degrees, so we're staying above average tomorrow, but temperatures will be dropping as we progress through the next 7 days. But look out on Saturday morning if you're traveling for spring break, because it could cause travel to be a headache. But we do see locally in Ames spring break weather dropping down into the upper to mid-30s for highs.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Kobe Gaines with the Sports Report. Iowa State seniors Monte and Nazareth Mitrou have been named to the United States Basketball Writers Association All-District Team. Morris, who on Sunday earned all Big 12 first-team honors, he's leading the Cyclones with 16.2 points and 6.2 assists. The Flint, Michigan native also leads the nation with 6.2 turnover ratio, committing just 1 turnover per game. Morris is on pace to become the 8th player in NCAA Division I men's basketball history to lead the nation in a stat category 3 times in a career. In his 5th season at Iowa State, Mitrou is having the best season as a Cyclone. The Ontario native is second on the team with 16 points while making 89 three-pointers. Mitrou missed much of the 2015-16 season following hip surgery and returned for his 5th year, scoring in double figures 27 times. Mitrou and Morris lead the Cyclones back into action Thursday in Kansas City, Missouri for the Big 12 Championship. The Cyclones will face Oklahoma State at 11:30 a.m. Let's go, boys. Iowa State women's basketball battled back from a 12-point deficit against number 24 ranked Kansas State, but could not complete the comeback as the Cyclones fell 74-67 last Saturday in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 Women's Basketball Championship. Iowa State drops to 19-12 on the season. The Cyclones were down 50-38 with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the third quarter, but fought back to tie the game at 56. However, the Cyclones would go nearly 6 minutes without adding to their total as K-State was able to pull back ahead. The shining stars for the Cyclones were junior guard Emily Durr, who had 21 points, and senior forward Heather Bowie with 13 points. Keep your heads up, girls. The Iowa State women's track and field program moved up 2 spots to number 18 in this week's United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association Top 25. On Monday, Joa Luque was named the USTF CCCA Midwest Region Women's Field Athlete of the Year for the indoor campaign. Luque enters this weekend's NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships as a number 4 seed in both the long jump and the 3 jumps, events in which she is coming off personal bests and conference titles and at the Big 12 Indoor Championships. Jasmine Stabler is the number 8 seed for the women's 800-meter run this weekend at the NCAA Indoors. The sophomore ran to a second-place finish in the 800-meter run at the Big 12 Indoor Championships. Luque and Stabler began their NCAA Indoor Championships on Friday. Take it home, girls. Iowa State senior Sammy Badai was ranked the number 100th player by the ITA in Division I women's tennis in the poll release Tuesday afternoon. Badai, a London, Ontario native, is 12-3 in singles play during the 2016-17 season. She is 6-1 in singles play during the dual season. Badai is currently 8-5 in the singles play with Maddie Consini. She has played a huge role in the Cyclones' 8-match win streak while being in the top spot in both singles and doubles. You could say that girl is on fire. Badai became just the second Cyclone to earn Big 12 Player of the Week honors last week. The Cyclones will look to continue their win streak this weekend against Wyoming and West Virginia and Urbandale, Iowa at Lifetime Fitness. John Ross participated in the NFL Combine this past Saturday, breaking the 40-yard dash record that was set in 2008 by Chris Johnson. Ross broke Johnson's record of 4.24 with a 4.22. Ross only ran 140 because he pulled his hamstring after the first attempt. Ross, who had 81 receptions for 1,150 yards to go with his 17 touchdowns this past season, did not win an island for his record-breaking 40 time, since he was wearing Nike cleats. Adidas had offered an island to any prospect who broke Johnson's record while wearing the company's 2017 Adi 5-Star 40 cleats, and then agreed to endorse the company's shoes for the 2017-18 season. Adidas' offer included an island who would be awarded as soon as reasonably. For that, the company could pay the prospect $1 million instead. Ross responded to the fact that he did not wear Adidas was because he was not much of a swimmer. Nike signed Ross after his combine performance. I guess you could say he was on an island of his own. That's all I have for your sports report. Be sure to stay tuned to hear about the latest campaign release from the Tory Burch Foundation. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Newswatch.
Thank you for staying tuned to Newswatch. Thanks to Amazon, you're one step closer to traveling to space. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos tweeted a photo yesterday that the main engine of his future rocket is complete. His space company Blue Origin plans to be able to take tourists into space, and the company has successfully launched and landed its rocket 5 times. With the success of the company, they are shifting their focus to the moon. Blue Origin has reportedly sent a paper to the White House to develop a spacecraft to establish human settlements on the moon. Blue Origin is not the only company in this modern-day space race, as Elon Musk and SpaceX also has its sights set on the moon. Musk announced plans for 2 private citizens to ride in a lunar capsule as soon as next year.
About 2.5 months after singer George Michael passed away, his cause of death has been revealed. The Wham singer, who was naturally stated to die of natural causes on Christmas Day of 2016, it has been stated the causes are a dilated cardiomyopathy with myocarditis and a fatty liver. George Michael was only 53 years old.
Fashion designer Tory Burch has launched a new PSA campaign with many familiar faces. Kerry Washington, John Hamm, and Layla Ali are among the 40 people included in Burch's PSA for her foundation, the Tory Burch Foundation. In the announcement, the stars talk about how ambition for women is something to be celebrated. Burch also included a woman who had escaped from North Korea and a firefighter from New York. Burch will be selling #EmbraceAmbition bracelets and t-shirts, with 100% of the proceeds going to her foundation, which empowers women entrepreneurs in the United States.
You know, you gotta love the empowerment of all people. And we're about that here on Newswatch.
Always.
I'll tell you what. Always about it. Now, thanks for stopping by on this edition of Newswatch.
Be sure to